Hello, today is December 12th and day 70, which means there's 20 days to go. This week, I don't know if I shared it all previously, but when I think I talked about how work has been challenging, and I've been processing a lot this week about what I want to do with work, and overall just like figuring out what's important in my life and what do I want to choose and what's valuable. And so I was reflecting on that more, and one of the things that in my reflections that had come up was this feeling of embarrassment, just being embarrassed with the way that my life was at. And I think one thing I had kind of talked about was this feeling of being a screw up, and that, you know, when my sister asked me how I was doing, it just triggers these feelings of like, does that what people think I am, that I can barely keep my life together? And, you know, I'm the younger sibling who got married too young and then ended up getting divorced, and now this is my life. I'm 30 and a cafe manager making $30,000 and still trying to make sure that I eat 3 meals a day. Like, it can feel kind of crushingly vulnerable and pessimistic. Like, I feel like I put so much effort towards things, and I'm trying, and I want things to be different, and I want to have some measure of success in my life, and in a lot of ways, personally, interpersonal, I do feel like I've changed a lot. And I feel like, you know, when you do so much work internally, or you do so much work on something that people don't usually see anyhow, like your addiction and your recovery, it's just like, God, I wish I could put that on a resume sometimes, because the amount of work I had to do just to process my own recovery and to be on a recovery journey, and the amount of emotional work I had to do in order to decide about getting divorced. And, you know, it's just like, you don't get to monetize those things, and you don't really get to put them on a resume so that you can monetize them. They just come out in who you are and how you treat people and how you treat yourself, and I'm ultimately really grateful for that. But it's hard to not feel like I'm still stuck, and that I wonder what sort of success I will have in life and in my 30s. And, you know, I don't feel like my eating disorder will keep me from doing these things, which I definitely felt like before. I felt like, you know, that I would be so stuck in my recovery that I wouldn't be able to move forward. And, you know, having bad days, you're pulled away from work, and then you can't focus on work, or feeling so limited by my own capacity because trying to manage a disorder. But I do feel like in my recovery, I can manage more things, but it's like this a lack of trust in myself, or lack of boldness, that it's too much to ask for maybe, or I can't really be trusted with it, or if it's too much, then I'll just relapse. I'm not totally sure, but there's what feels like a contradiction of what I want in my life and what I have the capacity to actually achieve, and I'm embarrassed by the things that I say that I want, because I feel like I haven't actually ever been able to achieve them. And maybe that does go a bit to my recovery, and that I felt like I've tried to claim in the last 5, 6, 7 years that I'm recovered, you know, but really, am I? And, you know, I don't want to be embarrassed by who I am. And I think big part of that, like, thing that I can manage across my life is by starting with my recovery, and not being embarrassed by being a person in recovery, or that I'm 31 and this is still my journey in with my eating disorder. It can help me come to peace with other areas of my life and be proud of where I'm at right now, instead of focusing on where I'm not. And that's definitely a lesson I've had to learn in recovery, is you may not be perfectly healed, but you can certainly be proud of where you're at in your recovery along all the stages.